Good evening. Welcome to this Tuesday, December 16th meeting of the Raymore Planning and Zoning Commission. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we're going to start out with a roll call and go ahead and go through, see how we're doing. Commissioner Anderson, Commissioner Crane,
Present.
Commissioner Faulkner,
Present.
Commissioner Fizer,
Present.
Commissioner Grodsky,
Present.
Commissioner Vinsky,
Present.
Commissioner Hanner,
Present.
Mayor Kirchhoff,
Present.
and Commissioner Burke is present. We do have a quorum. We do not have any personal appearances this evening. We do have a couple of items on the consent agenda. We have the minutes from November 18th, 2014 meeting, and we also have case 14034, the Raymore Crossing first plat. Unless someone has some concerns or questions about either item. Would I enter? Okay, yes?
Mr. Chairman, if I may, we just heard from the applicant on case 14034, the Raymore Crossing first plat. They have withdrawn that application from consideration, so we will not have to take action on that this evening.
All right. Well,
Thank you,
then
sir.
we will strike that from the consent agenda and from the agenda as printed. That's all right. Well, then we do have our minutes from November 18th, 2014.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Crane?
I move we accept the minutes of the November 18th, 2014 meeting.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Commissioner. We have a motion to accept the consent agenda as with, no? Wait, oh, okay.
I believe Commissioner Crane's motion was a motion to accept the minutes from
The minutes.
November 18th, 2014 meeting. Did
Right.
not hear a motion for acceptance of the consent agenda, not so sure that you'd need to since we're only approving one item, and we have a motion for that.
Thank you, Mr. Sir. We have a motion on the floor for acceptance of the minutes from the November 2014 meeting. Do we have any other concerns? Show of hands, vote on whether we accept the minutes. And we have 8-0. Very good, thank you. Gonna do a little counting. All right. We move on to, we have no old business on the agenda. Next, we have new business, case 14035, the 21st Amendment to the Unified Development Code. This is a public hearing, and we'll have that after we can get some information. Mr. Canarat, would you be able to present the case to the Commission?
Yes, sir. Thank you. This evening, I submitted to the commission a draft copy of a proposed ordinance, which spells out 7 specific proposed changes to various sections within our Unified Development Code. Also submitted with that draft ordinance a copy of the staff report. Both documents have been available on the city's website since the documents were published. So they have been available for public comment and review. On the staff report, again, this proposal this evening would be the 21st Amendment to our Unified Development Code. Again, various miscellaneous sections of our ordinance all were discussed by the Commission initially at your 2014 annual review of the UDC, and then again last month at a work session discussion you had. Any amendment to the UDC does require a public hearing, which was advertised in the Journal newspaper for this evening. I do want to enter into the record a copy of our growth management plan, our Unified Development Code, the notice of publication in the Journal, and the staff staff report submitted to the commission this evening. In the staff comments of the staff report, I have outlined the 7 proposed revisions, and I've done it by section number. That is how the ordinance is structured. So if we may perhaps just go through the 7 proposed sections, I'll identify what the proposed change is in each section and then give a recommendation at the end. Section 1, the first proposal would amend the home occupation requirements that are identified within our code. This is section 420.040 of our UDC, and there are specific requirements that a individual or a business needs to comply with in order to operate a home occupation. And what we're proposing to do is amend one of the identified requirements, which currently is limited to prohibition of outside storage of materials or equipment used for the home occupation. What I propose to do is amend that by adding language that deals with the outdoor display of products or commodities that are associated with the home occupation. So that new requirement would read, no outdoor storage or display of commodities, products, merchandise, materials, or equipment associated with or used for the home occupation is permitted. We had discussion back at your November work session where staff had actually proposed adding an additional item, and there was some discussion, but maybe that language could be better incorporated into an existing requirement. So that is what we have done here. I would note there is another item under one of the requirements, and it deals with commodities being displayed on the premises. And that particular language is really what it does is it limits the display of products that are normal and customary to the home occupation. It is different than the outside display. So I have kept those 2 sections of code separate. And again, the real purpose for this particular requirement is simply to limit the display of commodities outside. What we don't want, again, the whole premise of a home occupation is nobody should know that you're there. And if you're displaying products that you create as part of your home occupation, it's really becoming more of a retail operation, and it becomes obvious to the neighbors that there's something going on there. So just for enforcement purposes, we wanted that clarification made in the code. The second proposed amendment is section 420.050 of our code, and it deals with accessory uses and structures. And a minor change here, what we're proposing to do is just clarify the setbacks that are required for accessory structures, simply indicating that when an accessory structure is placed in the side yard of a home, and a side yard is defined as that area from the front of the home to the rear of the home, but on the side, and that's the side yard area, and an attached structure in that area has to meet the same setback that the house would meet. So there's a very limited area where a shed or an accessory building can go in a side yard. In the rear yard, an accessory building can go as close as 5 feet to a property line, and the rear yard is that entire area from the back of the home to the rear property line. So anywhere within that envelope, within that area, an accessory building can go as close as 5 feet. So we're just clarifying, we're not changing what the requirement is, but it's just a clarification of what is the side yard setback and what is the rear yard setback for an accessory structure. The section 3, the third request is in our sign chapter, section 435, deals with a sign height measurement, and what we're proposing to do is add a provision that is utilized for how the height of a monument or freestanding sign is measured. The proposed language is the interpretation that staff has done. It's how we have calculated sign height, and it is specifically for properties that may be at an elevation below the adjacent street. The whole idea of a monument sign at 6 foot high maximum is for a driver as they're going along the roadway to be able to visibly see that sign through their windshield as they're approaching the site. If the elevation is measured from ground level and that ground level is below the street grade, then it's difficult to see the sign. So out of fairness, we have always allowed the property owner to elevate the base of the sign so the measurement is made from the driving surface of the road or the sidewalk, so that sign is still 6 foot above. Signs where this has been implemented, CVS would be a good example of and Golden Corral would be a good example of where they have elevated the sign because the properties are below street grade. And so what we've done is included an illustration and language that defines how that measurement would be accomplished. Section 4, the fourth proposal, again in the sign code chapter, what we're proposing to do is to modify how a request is made for a sign that is not allowed by code. Currently, if a sign is allowed by code, but you want to make the sign taller or larger, you go through a conditional use permit review. So you file the application to the Planning Commission with the recommendation to the City Council. But that's if the sign type is allowed, but you, again, want to modify it beyond what our code says. The process currently for a sign that's not allowed would be to file for a variance. That would go to our Board of Adjustment. The difficulty with that process is the threshold that has to be met for a business in order to get a variance approved. Typically, a variance is based upon a physical uniqueness of a property, a physical hardship with the property. When you're dealing with a sign, it's a very hard threshold to meet. There's nothing unique or a specific hardship on the property necessarily to allow you to put a sign up that the code says you can't have. So it's not an equitable process for a landowner to go through or a business to go through to get a sign approved. So what we would propose to do is to allow this conditional use permit process to be used. So not only if it's a sign that's allowed and you want to modify it, if it's a sign that's not allowed, we would propose that business or landowner be allowed to file for a conditional use permit to make the request to allow the sign. And so this particular code language would do just that. There has not been an instance, at least in the time that I've been here, or the records that I've been able to see, where a variance has been applied for a sign. So it's not as if we're getting any request, but it seems to be appropriate to at least allow it. The fifth proposal, section 5, is in our floodplain chapter, chapter 460 of our code. Currently, the code does not allow any residential lot to be platted within the floodplain. What we're proposing to do is include language that would not allow any non-residential lot to be platted in the floodplain. So any commercial or industrial lot would have to be entirely outside of the floodplain area. Section 6, again, a proposal and that tied with the matter that I just discussed about the conditional use permit for a sign is, in our administrative section of our UDC, we would identify that it would be prohibited to file a variance for any provision of Chapter 435. And again, what we're doing here is that if you want to, if you would vary from the requirements of the sign code, you go through the conditional use permit process. And then the last proposed amendment in section 7 is the addition of 2 definitions for 2 terms that we use in our UDC but are not currently defined. One term would be subject property, and which is really the lot or portion thereof to which an application such as a rezoning or conditional use permit is applicable. And then a definition of undeveloped lot, which is defined as a lot, tract, or other parcel of land without a principal building upon the property. We utilize the term undeveloped lot when we're dealing with the sidewalk restrict regulations that we have in our code. So we propose just those 2 definitions for clarification in our code. So those are the 7 proposed amendments to the UDC that we propose with this case this evening. Staff has submitted proposed findings of fact for your consideration, and we do recommend that the commission accept those findings and forward this case, the 21st Amendment to the UDC, to the City Council with the recommendation of approval. Again, with your recommendation, another public hearing would be held by the City Council to allow time for the public to provide any input they want on this proposed amendment. And to date, I have not had any comment from any businesses or public regarding this particular amendment. So that concludes my report on this amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Cataract. Mr. Zur, question for you. Is it prudent to have, or correct to have the public hearing first and then open discussion, or is it the other way around?
I think we have consistently had the public hearing open first and then discussion from the commission members and entertainment for a vote. If there are questions on the staff report, you could obviously ask those questions of the staff report.
Right. I thought that was maybe the correct order to go in. We'll open public hearing. I do not see any members of the public here in attendance tonight. So based on that, we will go ahead and close the public hearing. They'll have another opportunity with City Council if this goes through. And there we go. All right, let's open up the discussion on this case with the commission. Does anyone have any comments or concerns or clarifications that need to be made? Well, I think we have done some, I think a lot of this, based on, and I made this comment last time to staff, when something is done well, sometimes it's easy to stop and think you're done, but I want to applaud again the staff for going through and making sure to go through it again and see, are there little variances that need to be made, and it looks like that we all feel that it's been done thoroughly, so I appreciate that. Do we have any kind of a motion from the commission on this case?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I move we accept staff's finding of fact and forward case 14035, 21st Amendment to the UDC to the City Council with a recommendation for approval.
And do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner. The motion is that we move that the Planning and Zoning Commission accept the staff proposed findings in case 1405, the 21st Amendment to the UDC, with recommendation for approval by the City Council. Can we have a show of hands on approving? And we have a unanimous vote, 0-4-0 against, or 8-4-0 against, and 0 abstentions. All right. Next, we have the City Council report. Mr. Zur, can you fill us in on?
I'm happy to provide a City Council report. It's a pleasure to be back down in the city of Raymore again. I'm happy to be able to come visit with you. It's been a little while, but I understand that Mr. Cataract has provided City Council reports in my absence. I do have the City Council report from December 8th, 2014, and I obviously would be happy to invite Mayor Kirchhoff as well as Jim Cataract to provide any additional flesh to the bones that I might provide from Mr. Willer's report to me. Very little that he was provided to me to report to you. I do have the 6th Amendment to the Eagle Glen Master Development Agreement presented by Robert L. Jackson Jr. as Great Plains Real Estate Developments LLC for the Eagle Glen subdivision. This addressed 2 of the parcels within the subdivision and a 2-year extension of time for the expiration of the preliminary plat. That was approved by a vote of 7-0. The only other item that Mr. Willerth identified was the Raymore Galleria Tax Increment Financing District Redevelopment Project 4, which was approved at I believe a first reading. Is that right? New business, first reading? Yes, first reading by a vote of 7-0, creating the Tax Increment Financing District for the city and the redevelopment project number 4 within that district. Don't have a whole lot of information about what redevelopment project number 4 was for that one, and I don't know if that's something that Mayor or Jim could provide a little bit more information on.
Excuse me, the project area 4 of the Galleria is land area that is to the south of the Sam's Club and to the south of the detention basin. That's part of the Lowe's site. This is land that's zoned C3, so our regional commercial zoning classification for the property. They do not have a specific project or plan in place for development of this land at this time, but they needed to move forward with council action due to a pending expiration of the TIF plan for that Raymore Galleria site. So they will be, at some point in time, coming forward with a development project, but they needed to have this approval to at least have the ability to keep the property included in the TIF for the Galleria Center.
And with that, I would conclude our city council report.
Thank you, Mr. Zer. Next, we have the staff report and the planning pipeline. Mr. Carteret?
Yes, sir, thank you. Regarding upcoming meetings, we do not have anything scheduled for your January 6th meeting at this time. We do have on your January 20th meeting, we did have an application filed this week on the topic of signs and conditional use permits. The landowner for the Golden Corral restaurant has submitted a request to modify their monument sign by increasing the height of the base. So in this case, I just gave the example where we allowed them to have the sign height measured 6 foot from the sidewalk. Their concern, what they identified in their application request was that because of the crown of the roadway that they need to elevate their sign. So what they have filed, it's an allowed sign, they have filed for a conditional use permit to increase the height of the sign. That will be a public hearing, so that is scheduled for your January 20th meeting. That's the only case we currently have scheduled. So we will need to decide if we want to meet on January 6th. I don't have anything, again, scheduled. We passed the filing deadline. So that's really up to the council, or to the commission at this time on that particular meeting.
Does anyone have an opinion on the January 6th meeting? I see a one thumbs down. Sort of off the record, I guess. It was below the table. Does anyone else have any opinion on whether we have things that we need to discuss or move forward with? I do not have any objections to canceling that meeting.
All right, we will do that then. And then one other item on staff report is reminder to the commission, the annual American Planning Association Conference, their national conference, is scheduled this year, April 18th to the 21st. I believe that should be a Saturday through a Tuesday. In April, the conference is in Seattle this year. Again, the city does provide funding in the city budget for a commissioner to attend the meeting. We've had various commission members attend over the years. Last year it was Commissioner Crane that attended the conference in Atlanta. I do attend the conference and will be going this year, but I wanted again to put the invitation out for a commissioner, if there is an interest, to go to that conference to let me know, and I can provide more detailed information on that. As in the past, they have actually shortened the conference. They used to have it on a Wednesday. Now they're closing it down on a Tuesday, so they try not to extend it over too many working days. On Saturday of the conference, they do special training, in-depth training classes, either half day or all day, not really geared for the commission, but from Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday are when the sessions are held, and there's specific tracks for commissioners to go to, although you're invited to go to any of the sessions that are available. So if anybody has an interest to go, let me know. Again, the cost associated with going would be provided by the city. So but we certainly would love to see a commission member go.
What were the dates again?
It's April 18th to the 21st,
Okay, thank you.
and that is the only items I have for this evening, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Carteret. Next, we have an opportunity for the public once again to speak at our commission meeting, and we have not had a large attendance tonight, so we'll go ahead and move past that. We'll open it up for commission member comments. I think we'll start with Commissioner Faulkner, since he doesn't get an opportunity to start very often.
Thank you. First, I want to thank staff, Mr. Carteret, Mrs. Johnson, Mr. Zer, Mr. Eanes. It's been a fairly quiet year, I think, compared to some in the past, but certainly has gone by very quickly. So they say time flies when you're having fun. We must have had a good year. Thanks to Vice Chair Burke for leading the meeting this evening, and happy holidays to all of the commission. Mayor Kirchhoff, the tree is gorgeous. You did a nice job. And to anybody else watching this, happy holidays, and we'll hit it again hard in 2015. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Pfizer.
I'd just like to wish everyone happy holidays as well, and everyone be safe.
Thank you. Commissioner Crane.
Hallelujah, school road is open. And I also want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and be careful out there.
Mayor Kirchhoff.
I'm just going to echo everything that Commissioner Crane just said. School road is open. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays.
Commissioner Grunsky.
Yep, same. Happy holidays.
Thank you. Commissioner Meiske.
Happy holidays to everybody. It's been a pretty good year, I think, and looking forward to another year.
Commissioner Hanner.
Same thing. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and I appreciate everybody's patience with my not being present so often, but I'm working on it.
Yeah, did take some time away to grow some facial hair. All right. I guess I will conclude commissioner comments. I want to say that I got an opportunity to meet several of the staff members in City Hall today, and I really appreciated the hospitality that was provided. Very professional people, very courteous and helpful, and it was a new experience, so I appreciated that. And I think we are at the end of our comments. I am done with my comments. Happy holidays. I believe is today the first day of Hanukkah, or is that? That's all right. So happy Hanukkah as well. I think that was not mentioned. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Mr. Chairman, seeing as how this might be the shortest meeting ever in my term on the commission, I move we adjourn.
I'll second.
We have a motion on the floor to adjourn our meeting. Can I see a show of hands? And we have 8-0. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.
By 2 minutes.
2